3, 2, 1,
jingle! Happy time has just begun. Brother, sister, smart, dumb, fun. Yeah!
Get down with your bad self-fan brothers.
I know. I just love this music. Thank you, Max Caselli.
Thank you, graduate Max Caselli. So, yes.
Now it's time to get 5 jobs and pay off that student loan.
Time to get those 5 jobs, pay off that student loan. That's why you got to get a public service job, Max. That way you can get public service loan forgiveness. So, some way, shape, or form, or something
or
to that
become
effect.
a doctor's wife. That's
Oh,
another
good
way.
idea. Doctor's wife, great idea. So, hey, everybody! It's Sunday, which means that we are live now. If you're listening to the podcast on Monday, then of course it's not Sunday. It's some other day of the week that you're listening. But we drop our live shows on Sundays. So here we are, brothers, sisters, smart, dumb, fun. It was a really gorgeous day today. It started out kind of cool and kind of cloudy, and then just got all sunny and happy. So,
You know what? It did not get sunny here. It is still cool and cloudy, but I spent most of my day in my garden, and it was perfect. It didn't get too hot. There wasn't sun blazing on me. I didn't even take a break today. I just was like weeding and throwing worms to my chickens, and it was awesome. I cleaned the chicken coop. I cleaned the brooder. My flower beds are ready. They are ready. So.
I'm glad mine are not. Actually, though, what I need to consult the Oracle, because what I would like to do is I'm not planning on actually I'm going to do my little potted flowers and stuff this year on my porch, but I'm going to construct 2 beds this summer, and I'm going to need a consult from the Oracle. That would be you and brothers. So, but that's my goal, is to get 2 beds built this summer so that I can, just get them perked up and then be ready for next summer. Joe is ready to homestead. And so this is actually, we're going to talk more about chickens, but we were talking about chickens this morning, my husband and I, who is, living in Wisconsin for the summer. So,
So
he is
you would
ready.
be in charge of chickens.
That's right. I'm like, oh no, to his credit, he's like, yeah, obviously we're not going to do chickens this summer. I'm like, uh-huh.
Obviously.
Like, the best I can do, I can handle putting in a couple of beds. I've done that by myself before, so I can do that again. But I just I want to pick spot stuff, things, other stuff. Yeah. So
all kinds of good stuff.
So that's good. Now, it was as you know, today is Cinco de Mayo. It is May 5th. Yesterday I had an incredibly productive day. Literally from the second I got up in the morning to the second I went to bed. Well, till about 6:45, I was really productive. Schoolwork done, stuff in the yard done, chairs washed, porch ready for sitting, which was good because last night it was officially banging in Northside. Parties everywhere. 360 degrees of parties because it was Cinco de Mayo. Everybody was celebrating last night, and it was going, we had the neighbors to the north, and we had the park to the south, and we had neighbors over it was 360 degrees of parties until about 20 minutes to 12, when this massive thunderstorm rolled through, and that pretty much clicked. It was like somebody flipped a switch. Parties off.
Game off.
Yes, it was like, yeah, the game's over. So yeah, that pretty much closed out the party. So what would have been probably banging until 2 or 3 in the morning was done by midnight last night. So
there you go. See, everybody, that way everybody could get up, bright and shiny, go to church.
Well, and I had an invitation to the party, to our next door neighbor's party, but like I said, I got done mowing the neighbor's yard yesterday, and I was just whooped after that. So, because I spent a couple hours, I actually spent 3 hours at school, and then I came home and did that. And so, yeah, by the time I got done with that, so I watched the Kentucky Derby with a beer, and then pretty much closed up. And that was a good Kentucky Derby. Good. It was a photo finish. They haven't had a photo finish in almost 30 years.
Wow.
But the top 3 horses literally finished within a single nose of each other. It was pretty. It took them probably about 4 or 5 minutes after the race to declare a winner because it was that close. Yeah.
Dang.
Exciting.
Dang.
So anyway, so here we go.
My boss and I discussed that it was a Kentucky Derby yesterday while we were at work, and then I promptly forgot.
And I do love the Derby.
Mhm.
Louis was having festivities, and I thought about going, but then I thought about how much I hate being around other people at stuff like that. So then I didn't go, and it worked out great.
It was perfect. You drank at home.
I drank at home, which is where I like to drink. The things I do enjoy going out to a bar, but not for stuff like that. It just about kills me. So, and I don't know. I've never been big on that. And then the older I get, the less I like it. So, you know. Anyway,
Uh,
hey, let's talk about stuff. Let's talk about chicken stuff. Chicken.
Yay!
I know I got to get rid of our brand real quick. Hang on.
Say,
There we
those,
go.
those are three of my girls, three of my fluffy butt girls.
Which three are those?
Okay, the one, the brown one, that is Julie, and then the two buttery girls in the middle, that is Scarlet and Peaches.
Scarlet and Peach is nice. I like what you've done
Mhm.
there. You've got a slide today about naming your chickens, which I think is brilliant. So
Oh, thank
there
you,
you go.
thank you.
Do you mind if I take the synopsis today?
Not at all. Enjoy.
Okay, I will. Welcome everybody. We do this every episode. This is our introduction for anybody that may be listening that's new, or just a quick reminder for our returning viewers / listeners. We are Ann and Janice brothers. We are actually sisters, and if you look closely, we look like each other, and our last name is brothers. We didn't just make that up. That came with the package of just birth. Okay, our last name is brothers. For the brothers sisters. We are in our 50s, which means we are Gen X all the way. That means we understand the phrase "jumping the shark." That is a phrase that you hear many times in the television industry when it comes to a show that has outlived its awesomeness. So when a show has jumped the shark, or when a politician has jumped the shark, it means that you've done things that are desperate. And this actually comes from Happy Days. And we actually saw this episode when it came on for the first time in Happy Days back in the late 70s. It's the one where Fonzie goes to California and jumps the shark, which is a way of saying, if you have to do this, your TV show is over.
Over. Yeah, he was water skiing and he jumped over a shark tank and he was still wearing his leather jacket.
Yeah, it was bad. And I even knew as an 8-year-old, I'm like, this doesn't seem right.
Exactly. I was like, what?
Yeah, so that's when in television, when you do something really dumb in order to gain viewers. And in this case, it was having Fonzie jump over a shark tank off the coast of California. That's dumb.
That's dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the time, you're like, Fonzie was still cool. But then you're like, maybe Fonzie's not as cool as we thought. Why is he still wearing his leather jacket? But, well, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you. I just know that we know what it means and we got to see it
happening for real. So now you know what it means when you hear the phrase jump the shark.
Mhm.
And if you're Gen Xer, you probably knew that anyway.
Exactly.
And as you can see, based on this conversation alone, this is number 3. We talk about smart stuff, dumb stuff, fun stuff, or any combination of the 3. And the fact that we've actually put thought into the idea of jumping the shark tells you kind of where we are at this moment in time.
We're in the real dumb stuff.
Yeah, we're super, super real. We are not cool, hip, or sexy, and we know this because Anne has chickens, and when I go to Anne's house, we sit in her backyard and we watch the chickens just range around and peck the backyard and make the little noise that they make, that kind of sound that they make, which is what chickens do pretty much all the time. That noise. So yeah, we just watch chickens doing the chicken thing. Chicken's got a chicken, yo.
Yeah, exactly. Chicken's just chicken.
Yep. So yeah, that's what we do when we go hang out together. So yeah, we are not cool, hip, or sexy. We are also not a celebrity influencer or true crime podcast. It's so funny. We met with my friend Kathy a couple weeks ago, and we kind of talked about our genre. What are we? What are we? And the truth is, we do not have a niche to fit into. So the best way to say this is what our friend Chip says. This is the podcast you go to when you want to learn things about stuff. And if you just want to chill, we've been told we're good to listen to if you want to be distracted, but you don't want to feel guilty about it. That's right. Because remember, you guys, this is a podcast about learning stuff. So therefore, when you listen to us, you're distracted, but you can be like, I'm gaining knowledge at the same time. So there's no reason for you to feel guilty. Guilty, you guys, is all about choice. Guilt is all about choices anyway. So don't feel guilty. At least that's what my therapist said that one time I went. Well, okay, the 3 times I went. I'm an expert. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Diagnosis.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yep. Yes. Again, we're heroes.
Yeah.
Okay. So just so you know, if you're listening with your kids, this is not a PG podcast. It's not G. It's not PG-13. Sometimes we don't think before we speak, which means we're going to drop an F-bomb or a B-bomb or an S-bomb or an A-bomb or a twat waffle bomb. Oops, sorry. That's the one I just did right there, or something like that. So just know that might be out there. And if you don't want to, if you don't want your kids to hear those words, or if you don't want to explain what those words mean to your kids, then maybe you should keep listening and go send them off with some Cheerios or something. Okay, good. All right. You can you can join us live pretty much every Sunday here on the Facebook. We also have a podcast that we drop every single Sunday night / Monday morning on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. We are on YouTube as a live show. But YouTube also has YouTube Music, which we actually have a podcast on YouTube Music now. So there you go. We really are looking for you guys to follow us, hit the bell, leave a review, leave a 5-star review to talk about how awesome all this is. Give us your feedback. We ask a weekly poll question on Spotify. Feel free to jump in and answer that. We have heard you. You want T-shirts, you want hoodies, you want hats, you want mugs, you want giant, water bottles. And so we are working on that. We're actually working with I can't think of the Vistaprint in order to get some things together for you guys so that you can purchase your amazing brother sister swag. So yeah. And again, you can always ask Alexa to play us because she knows our name. Look, I just said Alexa, and then she's like, I'm waiting for you to tell me what to play. Is she going to say something back? Nope, she didn't say anything today because I didn't really give her any instructions. So she's my personal assistant now because that's how I use her, because I can't remember things anymore. So I let her do the remembering for me.
That's why she's there, Jenny. It's important to accommodate yourself as you age.
That is true.
Mhm.
Yes, it's like I have an IEP for my 53-year-old self. This is one of my accommodations on my IEP, my adult IEP. So
Yeah, don't be afraid
that
to
should be a
use
thing.
your accommodations.
Yep, it should be my middle-aged IEP that I'm going to get. I think I'm going to start reverting to my young self. I think it's going to be amazing. So
I think so too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're turning 55 this year, and I'm
I
turning
am.
55 in another year. I'm actually going to get, because 55 is sort of the universal time that you are considered a senior.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get me some senior pictures. Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my gosh.
And the best part is, I found my varsity jacket. So I'm gonna squeeze into that thing and be fat guy in a little coat, and I'm gonna totally have my varsity jacket on. And it's like, honestly, I'm like, God, easily 60 pounds heavier than I was in high school. So I can't wait to squeeze into that. It's gonna be amazing. Fat guy in a little coat.
I can't put my arms
Fat
down.
guy in a little. So I won't be able to. I put that thing on. I'm like, yeah, wow, I used to fit in this. What was I, a baby?
Yeah, exactly. What was wrong with me?
So yeah, that's
Oh,
my
man.
inspiration for when I turn 55. I can hardly wait for that.
Yeah, no, that's
Okay, anyway, I digress. Hey, Ann Brothers, let's talk about the smart and fun and dumb stuff that happened to us this week. This is another thing that we do. We try to just kind of catch everybody up with the smart, dumb, or fun stuff. And go ahead and start us off.
Well, my fun thing was very exciting. It happened today. The hummingbirds are back in my yard.
Yeah.
I know. I saw an oriole in my yard this morning, which usually I usually see like an oriole and then a hummingbird the same within a day or two, or I see hummingbirds and then I see an oriole within a day or two. So I saw an oriole this morning, and I watched him assaulting my hummingbird feeders, even though I have one for him. I knew it was a male because of the coloring, but I was like, dude, yours is right next to it, and you also have to do is drink out of it. Stop assaulting the hummingbird feeder, because they always do that, and then they poop on it. So they're kind of jerks. Orioles are dicks.
They're dicks, and I think Orioles have FOMO. That whole fear
Yeah.
of missing out. I'm like,
Yeah, exactly.
what's in this feeder? I'm obviously missing out on something awesome. Orioles have FOMO. You heard it here first.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, so today when I was doing my yard stuff, zoom, I saw 2 different hummingbirds zooming by me. They were ruby-throated hummingbirds. I know this because that is the only type of hummingbird that we have in Michigan. So if you're watching, I have 2 little pictures here. One of a male, which you can see the ruby throat, and then the female female is green like the male, only they don't have the ruby throat. So yeah, so it's
Cool.
I'm very happy. I've had my hummingbird feeders out for 3 weeks. One day they even all froze.
Oh, rats.
But now I was like, yay, now they're back. So yeah, I wanted to be
They're back.
prepared.
And you got some, once they get there, you get some good, really good hummingbird game at your
Yeah,
house. So
yeah, I have
yeah.
4 different feeders placed at different parts of the house, and they're just like, I know we have nesting ones around here, and it is a busy, busy place. They'll empty all 4 hummingbird feeders in a day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get some good numbers for hummingbirds.
I do.
For me, my fun thing this week, I thought about it all week, and I just really, it's like nothing smart is happening to me right now. Lots of dumb stuff, lots of fun stuff. But I was reminded by my sister that season 3 of Hacks started this week, and so Hacks it's a show on Max or HBO Max. It's the best show you're not watching. Season 3 just kicked off. They're doing 2 episodes a week until May 30th. It's a 9th season. Stars Jean Smart, who is we should all be
Smart.
worshiping at the altar of Jean Smart. That's all I know.
Yeah, I
She
want a
plays
candle.
yeah, I know. I need her for my altar of candles.
Mhm.
She plays we'll say an aging comedian who sort of gets her life disrupted when she is sent a writer by her manager, who's she's a Gen Z, and so it's this fantastic dynamic about this woman she's a comedy legend. She's been in Vegas for 30 years doing her show. This young woman kind of comes in and sort of disrupts her life, and pushes her forward, and it's just this great show. It's funny. If you're a woman, you'll love it. If you're older, you'll love it. If you're younger, you'll love it, because it's got a little something for everybody in terms of the dynamic. It's about a woman who is a comedy legend, who is in cruise control, and a young woman who is working to be a comedy legend. And so it's smart, it's funny, it's incredibly well written, so well acted by everybody that's
Mhm.
in this show. I mean, there's
Yeah.
not a role that is a dud. They're all fantastic. We've got Jean Enruth with us. Jean, it is so good to hear from you. I hope you are doing well. I miss seeing your face. You're literally just one of the nicest, most positive people ever. So just so glad you are with us, and thank you for commenting. And just I hope you are
Mhm.
doing well. I hope things are going great. Been kind of following you on Facebook, watching with your grandkids, and I hope you are awesome. So thanks for following. So yeah, that's my smart dumb fun thing. So great. And in fact, I watched the first episode of the new season, yesterday, and then I decided to just kind of take a step back, and I'm kind of middle of season 2 right now, and then jumping into season 3. So it's just great. If you have HBO Max, I cannot recommend this show
Mhm.
enough. It's so fantastic. And like I said, Jean Smart, um, probably more famous when she was doing like designing women and stuff in the 80s, but honestly has had a career renaissance probably the last dozen years, and has
Mhm.
just been a powerhouse. She's got 5 Emmys. She's got a Tony. She's been nominated for Emmys 12 times, so it just goes to show you that she's just she's fantastic. I love
She's
her.
amazing. She's amazing.
Yes, she is. So Hacks, HBO Max. Okay. All right, Ann Brothers. We're going to
Mhm.
kind of turn the mic over to you because
Mhm.
you are our chicken expert. And I think this is a really great. I actually had a really long conversation at work with people about the fact that you can have chickens here in the city of Kalamazoo. And I think it's important that people know and understand what they are getting into when it comes to chickens. So it's all yours.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm an expert at chickens. I've had chickens since 2017, so 7 years now. I've wanted chickens forever and ever before that. So I just got my latest 6 girls. I'm very excited about that. They're 2 weeks old today, 2 weeks old tomorrow. So I just wanted to, if you are thinking about getting chickens, what you should do before you get chickens. Before anything else, find out if chickens are allowed where you live, and if so, how many. Hens or roosters, is it only hens or roosters allowed? And what is required for you to have a backyard flock? So most cities nowadays, you can have 3 or 4 chickens. Usually it's just hens where I live in the country, so you can have roosters. I don't have them, but you'll want to check into that. And you really want to know what you're going to need. You're bringing live animals into your life, and you want to make sure you have everything you need for them. Ask yourself, what do I know about chickens? If nothing or not enough, then you need to read and research. Google, YouTube. You can follow other chicken people on social media. If you want to spend your entire time looking at Instagram and Facebook on people who just have chickens, you can spend a lifetime, tons of time. I read an excellent book, which was recommended to me by another chicken person. It was The Small Scale Poultry Flock by Harvey Usry. This book is written for people who are not backyard chicken people. They're people who are looking to have a little bit larger flock, maybe 40 to 60 birds. But his first 4 or 5 chapters are excellent books. It's an excellent book to help you get to know what chickens are. It tells you, how a chicken body is set up, what they need, what you're going to have, all the basic, very basic information. It gets into stuff that you're probably not going to need, like how to process chickens or how to, most people that I know are raising chickens strictly for eggs. He goes into, of course, if you want to raise chickens to make other chickens. He talks about other types of fowl, like guinea hens and turkeys and ducks and geese. So it's a lot more information than you're going to probably need for just a backyard flock. But that first 4 or 5 chapters are essential. And of course, then it's just kind of interesting to read after that. But yeah, before anything else, do some research, follow some people, and read this book. So that would be my advice before you even check to see if you can have, first check there. Check, can my city, township, whatever, allow chickens? And then read this book, do research before you even walk into some sort of home and farm place and start picking out your chicks. So there you
go. Fun fact, in the city of Kalamazoo, you can have up to 60 chickens. I know, right?
Do not get 60 chickens. You will be no intention sad.
Yeah, 60 chickens. Oi, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. No. How about no? Right. Yeah, no, I'm not getting 60 chickens. So
okay, so now that you know everything about chickens, ask yourself, what do you want from your flock? Do you want pets? Do you want chicken pets? Do you want eggs? Do you want meat? What breed of chickens do you want? How many chickens? Do you want a rooster? Where will they live? What will they live in? How will you protect them? Will you name them? What will you do with your chickens when they're old? What is your chicken fantasy? Do you have this idea where it'll be this gorgeous coop that you paint pink and it'll have a chandelier? I've actually seen this. In reality, your chicken fantasy will have lots of chicken poop on it because they poop a lot. So if you are oh, but I thought they would be cute and tidy. Chickens are not tidy. So just so you know. So these are all questions. Go ahead.
I just remember somebody telling me that when I was a kid, we would go to Matt Klipinski's farm every year. Mm-hmm. And I always thought it was interesting that they didn't have chickens. And it was mainly because they're slobs. So,
They are slobs. They are unconcerned about where and how much they poop. So just so you know, so these are if you've decided I think once you've done your research, these are questions that you have to ask yourself and answer all these questions again before you even think about walking into that store and buying all those cute little baby chicks.
Because they're so cute.
They are so cute. Okay, some suggestions from my own experience. Settle on a breed that is compatible to what you want from them and the climate in which you live. So I live in a cold place. So all of my breeds that I've had are breeds that do well in the cold. If you live in a more arid place, or then you'd want to get chickens that do well in that situation. If you live at elevation, you want to find chickens that do well at elevation. So that's an important thing. I want girls, I want hens that lay eggs. I'm looking for egg layers, and I live in this part of the country. Well, look for breeds that are egg layers and do well in your part of the country. Do they do better in warm weather? Can they tolerate cold weather? and go from there. So that's important. My advice, don't get a rooster. No roosters. You don't need roosters if you're just going to have eggs. And why? Roosters are jerks. They are mean. They will see you as a predator, and they will attack you. So yeah.
I have a question real quick.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you were if you're, what should somebody get? So here you are in a northern chilly climate. What are 2 good breeds that you would recommend for this neck of the woods?
My first recommendation would be Wyandottes. They're a lovely bird. They're a medium-sized bird. They're more of a egg-laying bird, but they're considered dual use. So you can use them as an egg bird or a meat bird. They were first bred in New Hampshire. So they're a cold weather bird. They have a very short little rose comb, which is that kind of skin on the top of their head. It's very close to their skull, so it's not going to get a frostbite on it. They have a nice, thick, downy feathers. They are a docile group. They don't tend to hurt each other, and they're not aggressive to you. So that would be my very first. They're a pretty smart bird. I've been doing this for 7 years, and I still have one of my original girls, Crystal. It's because she's very savvy. Another breed that's pretty good that I would recommend would be sex-linked. And they're a brown bird, very good layers. They are a little too smart, and sometimes smart chickens get eaten. So they will release themselves on their own recognizance from their run. But they're very good layer. And again, they're not aggressive. They're a very, very common backyard bird. So Wyandottes would be my very first choice. And then sex-linked, and then buff Orpingtons. They're kind of a flighty bird. They're a very lovely bird, but they're kind of flighty. And so they can be they're like, oh, I got eaten by a hawk,
That happened.
Crystal's over there sounding the alarm, and they're like, what? So Wyandottes, that's my first choice. Wyandottes.
Okay. And so we're at the point right now where you're like, no, roosters are jerks.
Roosters are jerks. Invest in a sturdy coop. I can't tell you how many things love to eat chickens. In fact, I will tell you how many things that love to eat chickens. They usually get attacked at night, and you want a nice sturdy coop because things like raccoons and ferrets and weasels and foxes will try to break into your coop. And that's, you're not out there to protect them. So dogs, that's another thing, will break into your coop really easily. So you want to have a good sturdy coop. It's important to dig a ditch around your coop so the chicken wire can be placed under and around the base of the coop to keep out digging predators like raccoons. Invest in a solar powered fence. I have a solar powered fence, and it's kind of an investment. The fencing and then the generator costs about $500, but it is most predators lead with their nose, and they hit that fence with their nose, and they will avoid your area. If you want to test it, touch it once, and you'll be like, oh, that sucked. So yeah, you don't need to heat your coop. If you live in a cold area, you think, oh, my chickens will get cold. You really don't need to heat your coop as long as you have a sturdy coop that doesn't have a bunch of that's doesn't have to be insulated, but it has to be solid where there's no breeze getting in or anything. You don't need to heat it. Chickens aren't dumb, but they are only good at one thing, and that's being chickens. They are very good at that. But if you want them to be anything other than chickens, you will be disappointed. So if you think, oh, why don't, people I've always said, well, chickens are dumb. I'm like, no, chickens are great. You don't even have to feed them. They will feed themselves. If you let them free range, you don't have to feed them. That's how smart they are. They can keep themselves fed. They're just not good at anything else. They don't come when you call them. They don't want to be lovey. They're not going to fetch, They can't be potty trained. They're not interested in a litter box, So if you want chickens to be anything other than chickens, you will be disappointed. But if you just want them to act like chickens, they're great at it.
They are experts at being chickens. I was just thinking of raccoons because they have those tiny little weird raccoon hands, like little diggers. Yeah. Raccoons, I swear.
Raccoons, yeah. Get a good coop.
Indeed. All right. So, and we've got some questions for you. So let's go with question number 1. How much does it cost to establish a flock?
Well, that depends on how many chickens you want and how handy you are. For me, with a starter coop, I got a kit. I got a little starter coop with a kit, an electric fence with a solar generator, wire fencing, food bedding, brooder supplies. So that's the supplies you need when they're chicks. Food, water containers, baby chicks. Probably when I first started out in 2017, it probably cost me about $1,000 to get started, and it can be done for cheaper. If you're handy, it can be done for cheaper. You can spend 5 times that much if you really want to. The least expensive things will be the chicks. Those will be the least expensive things. Everything else, you gather every year. I spend less and less on my chickens because I already have all that stuff. So, but that first time, you're probably going to put out between $500 and $1,000. I can't recommend an electric fence enough. So, really consider spending the money on that.
I would consider that to be money well spent for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're investing in your chickens.
Yeah, and a lot of people think, well, if I live in an urban area or a city, will I still need an electric fence? You're probably going to need one more because you have just as many predators that will want to eat your chicks as I do here in the country. You'll have more raccoons, more possums, more skunks, more cats, more dogs than and they'll all want at your chickens.
Yeah, it's amazing how many woodland creatures go wandering through my backyard
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis. Just today, we had 2 woodchucks that were, chasing each other around like crazy.
Yeah.
And like I saw a possum the other night. We had a raccoon on the porch the other night. I mean, yeah, we have literally all the woodland creatures, and we are smack dab, in the middle of Kalamazoo. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's just
Okay.
huh? Sure.
Go ahead. Finish your statement.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, where should one buy their chickens?
Well, there's lots of places you can buy chickens. They can be mail ordered. You can purchase them online. A farm supply store is probably your best bet. From someone who has chicks, that's another place where you can buy them from. Sometimes you can get them from the Humane Society. Some people will decide they don't want their chickens anymore and they'll donate their chickens to the Humane Society. If you don't want chicks, you want full-grown chickens already. I got mine from Chelsea Farm Supply, and it's a very local farm supply store, and they will order the number that you want, and they will get you can get more exotic varieties if you go to a place that's a little smaller sometimes. And they'll also sex them for you. They'll order them so they'll be sexed, so you're getting females. Some places I know like Tractor Supply has chicks right now, but you kind of get what you get. They're like, oh, I want a dozen chickens. Honestly, you'll get a dozen chickens and like 7 of them will be roosters. And then you got to figure out, what am I going to do with all these roosters? Let me tell you something. You get 1 rooster is a jerk. 7 roosters are bags of dicks. Well, I got to tell you.
Well, and again, the only reason you get a rooster is if you want baby chicks. For those of you that don't quite know the science on that, female chickens will lay eggs regardless of whether there's a rooster.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, if you have a rooster, the rooster's going to be there to fertilize those eggs, and then you'll have baby chicks. But, if you don't want baby chicks, you don't need a rooster.
You don't need a rooster. Yeah. So I would, if you want to make sure that you have chickens that are sexed, you either need to find a place that will sell them to you sexed, or you need to order them from a chicken supply company, and you can specifically order them. They will come to you in the mail. They will let you know when they come. They hatch. They will send them out the day they hatch, and you will probably get them the next day. You'll probably have to go to the post office to pick them up. And then you have to get them right to your brooder. Baby chicks, the first 24 hours do not need food or water. So they will get them to you immediately. So you got to be prepared. And that's the nice thing about like a small farm store is that they'll get them in the mail and they'll go and pick them up from the post office, and then they'll put them in a brooder for you so you can come and pick them up within the next 24 hours. But yeah, if you're having them sent to you directly, you got to be ready. So
okay, so you keep saying the term brooder. What does that mean?
A brooder is an enclosed area where you have a heat lamp and water and food in a place where your chicks are not going, and that's where your chicks will live until they're old enough to go outside. It will be a place that's nice and warm. When you first get them, you want to keep it at about 95 degrees, so you have a red heat lamp on them. They'll have to be placed it'll have to be big enough where the chickens, they can be under the heat lamp if they want, or they can go cool off at another part of it. So it doesn't have to be huge. I use a big horse water trough. The walls are high, so they can't get out on their own. And then there's no breeze, like no breeze can come in and chill them. So it's basically a safe, warm place where they can live until they get their feathers.
And how often do you feed and water them once they've had that first 24 hours?
I have, they're allowed to eat and drink at will. So I have a special water bottle for them that doesn't overflow and get them wet, because that can be very dangerous for chicks to get wet and cold. And then I have a food distributor that I make sure is always filled, but it's again self-feeding, and they'll eat when they want to and drink when they want to. And then you also have to have very tiny grit for them, because chickens don't have teeth, so they swallow food whole. And then they also eat the grit, or the tiny pebbles, which collects in their gizzard, which is an organ that they have that acts like a bag. It's a bag that has rocks in it that grinds up the food for them before it goes on into their digestive system. So it's kind of like a bag of teeth.
Yeah, because they don't they don't have those same sorts of enzymes like we do in our stomach and our intestines that break food down. So they actually have to have, we have a chemical means for that to happen. Chickens don't have that chemical means, so they have to have a physical means that they ingest to get that to happen for them. So
yeah.
fun
So
fact about birds.
yeah, that's fun. So you'll have to have a place where your chicks can be safe and warm until they get their feathers, and that can take 6 to 8 weeks. So you have to clean it every week and keep it and adapt, because as they get bigger and more feathers, they'll want to jump out of it. So mine's nice and high. It has a mesh top. So yeah.
So your chicks just came this week, so it'll be
They're 2
closing
weeks.
in on. So 2 weeks away. So it'll be closing on the end of June before those chicks will get out to the run.
Probably. The nice thing is that I get my chicks a little bit later, so it's warmer. So this month of May is too chilly for them, but probably by the second week of June, I'll be able to introduce them to outside, because it'll be warm enough at night that they'll be okay.
Rock on. Excellent. All right, so here we are. It's a couple months later. The chickens are out there. They're running around. So now comes the fun of cleaning your chicken coop. So how often do you need to clean your chicken coop?
I clean my coop more often in warmer months, about once a week, so that bugs like flies and stuff don't start making their home there. It can also depend on the size of your coop and how many birds you have in your flock. So if you have a small, very small coop and you have 4 or 5 or 6 birds, you might have to do it at least once a week. If you have a bigger place with a smaller amount of birds, you might get away with 2 weeks. I clean mine every week in the warmer months and every 10 to 14 days in colder months. Wear a mask when you do it, because chickens are very dusty, and use diatomaceous earth in the summer, which is DE, to reduce bug issues. If you spread it around, bugs can't, it clogs up all their little pores and they suffocate, especially the eggs. So it's just a way to keep flies from establishing and getting in there and laying eggs and making maggots and stuff in your chicken coop. So use DE, sprinkle it around. It is gross. So yeah, you want to make sure you keep your coop clean. You don't want lice to get into your coop, because it gets in the chicken feathers. So you have to. You don't want it to stink. My coop does not stink, so you don't want it to be stinky. And so you have to
clean coop.
Keep a clean coop.
What kind of footwear should you wear while you are cleaning your coop?
I have a pair of old tennis shoes that I wear. That is I wear them only outside. You do not want to bring your old chicken coop tennis shoes inside, because you can spread around salmonella and other things inside your house. So whatever you use to clean your coop, it stays outside.
Okay. You have coop shoes, and that's what they do. They coop shoes.
And then I also have a pair of Wellington boots that I use in the winter. So they're tall Wellington boot, because they make you sweat your balls off. In the summer, they do not breathe, and it's gross. And you're like, oh, why am I so hot? It was like, it's those stupid Wellingtons wrapped around your feet. But in the winter, they're awesome. In the summer, woof.
Not so much. All right. Next question. How do you know if your chickens are healthy?
Because they act like chickens. They will peck and scratch, and they will be social with the rest of the flock. They will lay eggs on a regular basis and make a thing of it of lots of vocalization when they do lay an egg. So when they lay an egg, they let you know, they're like, look at me, bawk, 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 bawk. If they are lethargic and have a drooping head or drooping feathers or diarrhea, or they're isolating themselves, this behavior indicates sickness. You want to isolate your bird if they're sick. You can do a vet visit if you want, but you need to find somebody who specializes in chickens, which can be hard. I don't take my chickens to the vet. You may have to put your chickens down. And I've had to do that twice with 2 birds. I've had to borrow my neighbor's 22 and put chickens down because they had gotten sick. Something had gone wrong and they had gotten sick. And I didn't want them to get their other chickens sick. You have to be careful too with bird flu. Bird flu will usually kill a chicken within, you'll notice they don't feel well, and within 20 hours, 8 to 20 hours, they're dead. If that happens, you might have to put your whole flock down. You want to really keep a close eye on that. So you want to keep and make sure your chickens are healthy. So,
okay. Good to know.
Chickens, one thing that will happen with chickens is about every 18 months, they will start to lose all of their feathers. It's called molting, and they will literally lose every single feather. Not necessarily all at once, and it can take 4 to 6 weeks. Well, they'll lose every feather and grow in new feathers. And they can be a little lethargic then. They don't feel great. They don't eat a lot. They won't lay eggs. But it's a normal thing. It happens with all of them. You're just like, it looks like somebody burst a feather pillow in the coop. So, and it takes a while, and they look like hell. And people are like, what's wrong with your chickens? I'm like, oh, they're molting and they're not laying any eggs. So they're just cranky.
Everybody's cranky. You ain't getting any eggs. They look bald. It's just bad. It's bad for everybody.
It is.
All right. So speaking of laying eggs, how many eggs can you expect, and when can you expect them?
Most hens will start laying eggs at 5 to 6 months. So the girls that I have that I got in April, I'll probably start seeing eggs from them in October. They will be good layers for up to 3 years and then slow down after that. They will be done with laying the whole egg business probably within the 4th to 5th year, but chickens can live up to 8 years. Some varieties will lay a few eggs a week for all year long. Some will lay an egg every day, but only during warm months. A light can be used in the colder months to encourage more egg laying. I don't. I figure if the chickens are slowing down, maybe they need a break. So I just, all the varieties I have are decent. They'll continue to lay in the winter, just not as much. So right now I'm getting like 6 eggs a day. In the winter, I get 1 or 2 every other day.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
So it depends.
I was going to ask you, when you come over this week, will you bring some eggs?
I will totally bring some eggs. I've got like 6 dozen in my fridge right now. So
let's go.
Yeah, there's so much eggs. Yeah, so it depends. Like I like girls that lay all year, but like you could get like a leghorn, and they will lay crazy in the summer, and then once the light changes in the fall, boom, that's it. You won't get anything. So just depends on what you want.
Cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
All right. What are you feeding your chickens?
Chickens are omnivores, and they will eat anything that can fit into their beak. If they free range, you don't need to feed them. They will feed themselves, but will appreciate your food scraps. My chickens are very spoiled. They have free access to Layer Crumble, which is a type of chicken feed. My own blend of scratch for snacks and bribes. They get chicken and restaurant scraps several times a week, and they get to free range a couple times a week. I have about an acre of yard, so they are totally spoiled. I also buy them bags of mealworms because that's how spoiled they are. But if I notice that like the crumble, they'll eat more crumble in the winter when they have less free ranging. But in the summer, they'll hardly eat any of the crumble that I have. They'll still eat scraps and a little bit of scratch, but basically they just want to be around my yard eating ticks and worms and all kinds of good stuff. So
that was actually going to be one of my questions. What's the benefit to your yard of having chickens in your yard?
Well, I don't have a tick problem, which is nice. I don't have a ton of chickens, which is good. If you let your chickens go in your yard, they'll scratch up your yard and can really make some bald spots in your grass if you're opposed to that. I have to, on my flower bed, especially this time of year in the spring when stuff is still coming up, I have to put chicken wire around it because they'll go through and scratch in the dirt and tear it all to shit. So, you have to be careful about that. But once the plants get big enough, you just open it up and they like that. They just they eat bugs. They are bug eating machines. Anything that might eat bugs that might eat your produce or your flowers, bugs that might want to eat you. They're great at that.
Is there anything you shouldn't be feeding your chicken?
Citrus, anything like coffee grounds, tea stuff. You don't want to feed your chickens chicken. They will eat chicken because they eat anything that fits in their mouth. So you don't want to encourage cannibalism with your chickens. So those are things that avocado is not recommended. Make sure they have plenty of access to clean water. So I always have I have a great big bucket for them that's covered so crap doesn't get into it. But then every time they're out free ranging, I also have a number of water dishes around so they can go around the yard and there's always clean water for them. That's very important.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Everything loves clean water, including us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
You were going to talk about this earlier, Anne. What eats chickens?
House cats, dogs, raccoons, skunks, possums, fox, rats, ferrets, weasels, minks, snakes, hawks, especially Cooper's hawks, crows, coyotes, bears, bobcats, wolves, anything that likes chicken. It's delicious. Yeah.
That's a long list.
Those are all things that will eat your chickens. Now, crows are more interested in baby chicks. They're not going to harass your big chickens. Snakes are more interested in your baby chicks as well. Rats will eat baby chicks. They're more interested in the baby chicks. But dogs, house cats, raccoons, skunks, fox, they will mink, hawks, coyotes, bears, bobcats, wolves. They will go after your big girls, no problem whatsoever. So. There you go.
So I started reading that Amy Tan book that we're going to talk about in a couple of weeks, and I did not realize this, but I think the number she gave was 80%. It was either 75 or 80% of baby birds in the wild don't see adulthood.
Right.
And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so your chickens are, odds aren't good unless you're really taking care of them that they're going to make it.
And like I said, I've been doing this 7 years. My oldest girl is Crystal. She is 7. She's the only girl I have left from my first group because, they die of, I had one, her best friend Candy died earlier this winter. So, you have, sometimes they die of old age. What's the big thing is that a lot of them, I've had 2 that have died of sickness and the rest have gotten eaten by something. And most often it's hawks. The electric fence does not prevent hawks. Last year we had a very large fox population in our area, and I lost several to fox. They will come right into your yard in the daytime and snatch a girl, and she'll be gone. Raccoons will get into a coop and kill everything in the coop and take one chicken.
Those little bastards. I'm telling you, man, raccoons are, you talk about jerks.
Mm-hmm.
They're not bags of dicks. Raccoons are pyramids of dicks. Okay.
Yeah. People have I had something get in my coop and they killed everything. I was like, raccoon.
Yeah. They're just bitches.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My stepdaughter, Sarah, her grandmother lost a dog to raccoons and they just literally tore that poor dog to shreds.
Yeah, they can be quite vicious. They can be quite aggressive.
I'm not a huge. I don't find anything adorable about raccoons. I do not care for them.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and again, here's that question: how many roosters do you need to get eggs?
Zero roosters. That you don't need unless you want fertilized eggs to bake baby chicks. Otherwise, you don't need any roosters. In fact, your chickens will think you're the rooster. My girls think I'm a rooster. In fact, I have a couple of girls that present to me. They'll squat down. They're like, okay, are we going to do it? I just pet them. I pet them and I shake their tail. And then they're like,
oh. That's so awkward.
I know, exactly. I was like, why are they doing that? I'm like, because they think I'm a rooster.
Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that. I did not know that your chickens are all like, hey girl, what's up?
Exactly. It's like, oh, hey daddy, what's you doing? Hey puppy.
Oh, I'm scarred for life. I'm
I
scarred for
know.
life.
Exactly. So if you have girls, and you don't have a rooster, and you give them treats, they see that you bring them treats and snacks, they will think that you are the rooster, which is fine. I'll go out there and my chickens will be like, oh, boop, 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 and I'm like, boop, 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 boop. So yeah,
Yeah, things getting freaky all up in the Chelsea farmlands. That's right.
exactly. It's hilarious.
Yikes.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. All
Mhm.
right. Okay. So, what determines egg color?
Egg color depends on the variety of chicken that you decide on. You can determine the egg color by their ears. I'm not quite sure how it works, but you can look at a chicken and people who know, like, oh, this chicken's going to give you brown eggs. This chicken's going to give you tan eggs. This chicken's going to give you white eggs. This chicken's going to give you green eggs. So I guess that's how they do. All my girls give a tan egg, kind of a medium tan. So yeah,
They are lovely and
they
so
are
pretty
lovely.
inside, so yellow
Mhm.
and yummy.
Yeah.
When I was working in Littleton Public, I had a student he would bring me blue eggs all
Oh
the
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They
They're
were,
called o- olive eggers.
okay. Yeah,
Hmm.
those are some sexy eggs. That's all I know. Super
Yeah, they're
sexy.
very beautiful. The only reason I usually don't have olive eggers or they're not always a consistent. They don't lay eggs as consistently, so and they're not quite as sturdy, and they can be kind of expensive.
I'll buy
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
mhm,
Wait, you said ears, right? You
mhm.
determined by their ear. I never really think of chickens as having ears, but
Yeah,
I guess they do, don't they?
they do. They
Duh.
sure do. Mhm.
Yeah. Hmm. I just, they don't have the big old human type ears like we
They
do,
do not.
or
They do not.
fox ears, or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah, they're not
Nice.
sticking out everywhere.
Okay, here's a fun question. Should you name your chickens?
I do because I think it's fun, and I can tell my girls apart. If you're going to be a serious farmer, you will not name your chickens because you're not going to keep your chickens once they stop laying. You're probably going to get them processed, so you can use them as roasting chickens, or stick them in a what is it, a pressure cooker.
Chicken,
Um,
chicken
you know,
pot pie.
yeah, chicken, exactly. So, but I'm not a serious farmer, so I have just asked Crystal, and Scarlet, and Peaches, and Patty, and Julie, and Pansy, and Posy. Those are my girls right now. So, I try to name them. My first set of girls were named after strippers, and then my next set of girls were all had like a red sort of like Scarlet and Peaches. I had Scarlet, Peaches, and just kind of like a red theme. And then my next set of Wyandottes were named after my aunts. And then I had my sex linked are named after flowers starting with P. And then my next set of girls, which are all black Australorps, they are all black chickens with red comb and red wattle, and they're all going to be named after female characters in Bewitched.
Ah, nice.
I know, right? So there'll be an
Mm,
Endora and a Sabrina and a Tabitha and
it's fantastic.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
What was the aunt's name? The old aunt that wasn't a very good witch. Her powers had started to wane.
Oh God,
What was her name?
it wasn't Andor. It was God. I know I
Aunt.
have it all written down because I
Okay.
researched it, but I cannot remember her name. It wasn't Andorra. It was Esmeralda. Aunt
Yes, the Aunt
Esmeralda.
Esmeralda. That's right.
Yeah. So yeah. So I'm very excited
Uh,
about
awesome.
that.
And again, which Darren?
Exactly. Which Darren? I don't have a Darren. I'm the Darren.
That's right. Ann's the Darren. Which Darren are you? Are you Dick Sargent or Dick York?
Doesn't matter because they're both dicks.
What just happened?
Yeah. So I do because I think it's fun. So yeah,
Nice. But you don't have to.
you don't
All
have
right.
to.
Okay, I had a few more questions for you. The first one is once I get my eggs, then what?
Well, you don't need to wash them. Eggs come out of the vent with a little invisible film over them, and basically what the film does is it keeps bacteria out of the egg. Because remember, there's supposed to be a living creature in there. Oxygen needs to pass in and out of the egg, so it is porous that way. But you want to keep bacteria out, so it keeps the embryo, the chick embryo, healthy. So that coating is on all the eggs. If you wash them, you wash the coating off. But if you don't wash them, you can leave an egg on the counter for up to a month. And if you don't wash them and put them in the refrigerator, you can leave them in your refrigerator for 6 months. If you go to a grocery store, they never last that long because they've been washed and the coating has been washed off. So when I give people eggs or I sell people eggs, I tell them, you need to wash these because they still have the coating on them. And you want to make sure that there's no salmonella or any extra, tiny bits of chicken poo on them or anything. You just want to make sure that they're clean before you crack them. But if you don't wash them, they will last much, much longer.
Okay. So good to know.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Where did you get your coop?
Okay, my first coop was a starter coop that came in a kit that Duncan and I built. This coop I have now is gorgeous. I got it from Jim's Amish Structures. They have a lot here in Chelsea, and they also have one in St. John. They do mostly sheds, but then they also have a couple of different coop styles. So I got my coop from them. It was pre-built. And then they literally drive it up to your house. You have your area set up already and they just plop it right where you want it. It's awesome. I chose it because it's nice. It's a nice, safe, well-built, designed for chickens coop. Like I said, it was already constructed. It's sturdy, has a metal roof. The floor is vinyl, so it's easier to keep clean. It's cedar, so it's bug resistant. And the laying boxes are easy to access, are accessible from the outside. The ceiling is high enough so that I can stand in it. So it's just about 5 feet, 2 inches tall, and I'm like 5'1 3/4. So I can stand up in it, which makes it easier for me to clean. It has windows on both sides, so it has excellent ventilation. The laying box has a pneumatic door on it or pneumatic top, so it's hard for critters to open it. But once you get it open, it stays open. You don't have to worry about it swinging back down and slamming on you or slamming on other chickens. But it's hard to push open, so you have to put a little effort into it. So things like raccoons can't get their little grimy hands on it and push it open.
Jerk hands.
It's got 2 roost bars, which I like, so an upper and a lower bar. Chickens, I liked it because the chickens can get under it and they can hang out under there, but I don't have to worry about raccoons getting under it and digging the floor because it's sturdy enough. Mine's big enough for 15 chickens. Hopefully by when I get my other girls in there, I'll have 12. It's big enough that I can have my food in there and water in there. So when the weather is bad, it's all contained and I can keep my chickens in there. It's big enough for them to move around and wander around. They can be up on the roost. They can be down on the floor. They get all the food they need. So it's big enough for the number of girls that I have. I didn't have to build it. I don't have any skills in building. I don't have the tools to build it. And the amount I paid for it, if you don't have the tools and the skills, by the time you buy the tools, buy your materials, get your skills, you're going to pay more than I paid for one that was already built. Like I said, they drive it right up to your house. They have this special truck and it was great. It wasn't cheap. I paid $2,400 for my coop. It was not inexpensive, but it was the most reasonable and still checked all the boxes that I wanted. A starter coop is fine. Like if you get a kit, just to make sure you want to be in the chicken, you want to raise chickens, start out with a starter coop. That's great, but it's only going to last you about 3 seasons. This one is going to last me 25 years. So
cool.
You can get one that's like as nice as the one I have in pieces, like 5 or 6 pieces that you put together yourself, but they're literally the same price as having one that's already built for you.
I want to get the one that somebody builds for me. Yay.
Exactly. And I was telling Jenny, there's certain things I don't do myself. I don't do my own taxes. I don't drill my own teeth. I didn't build my own coop. I wanted to make sure that I had the strongest, sturdiest coop I could afford to keep my chickens as safe and healthy as possible. And this is what worked best for me. I'm not saying it's for everybody.
Yeah. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. And if you're more ambitious and want to do that yourself, you have options for building your own coop or constructing your own coop or cooping your own coop. So
yeah, exactly. And you can find free chicken coop plans online. You don't even have to pay for the plans. You just have to have the skill. And I don't.
The skills, you need the tools and the talent.
Yeah. And so I had neither. So I'm like,
fair enough.
Some nice
and brothers. I believe you have given us enough information to help people, myself included, decide if this wants to be an adventure for you. And I think it's important to remember that, yeah, these are little cute little living things, and if you're going to get them, be prepared to do right by those chickens. Take good care of them. Make sure that they have what they need. Protect them, and yeah,
Yep.
they'll take care of you by providing you with delicious eggs. So there you go.
And
Wow, Ann Brothers, well
very
done.
Thanks. They're very entertaining too. I really like them.
And chicken's got a chick. So
Chicken's
yeah.
got a chick.
So that's going to wrap up this week. Like I said, we've got all this information. And again, you guys, you can access this information anytime you want on the Facebook, on our podcasts. You can also just email us and get, more with more questions and so forth. Our sneak peek for next week, we've got a couple different things happening next week. First off, we have Lynn Brand will be with us next week. Lynn Brand is the godmother of this podcast because we were just kind of messing about with our podcast, and Lynn told us to get it together. So that's what we did. I couldn't decide which of these pictures I liked the best, so I just put all three of them on there.
Very good, Jenny Brothers. Very good.
I thought so too. So again,
and we are going to be doing this live on Wednesday this week.
That is correct. So yes, we will be live on Wednesday. We'll be doing a 6 p.m. show on Wednesday, May 9th, and then we'll of course drop the podcast that following Monday at per normal. But you got to fit schedules in how they go. So Lynn will be with us on Wednesday for our live show on Facebook. And then, of course, we'll drop the podcast. After that, we've got a couple different adventures. We're going to be going up to Traverse City. We're going to be listening to Amy Tan, author, who's going to speak about her new book called The Backyard Bird Chronicles. I started listening to it yesterday when I was mowing lawns and stuff. I got to tell you, it's fascinating. It really is. It's a nonfiction book where she basically talks about becoming a birder and what she, just her journal, her backyard journal about, what's in her backyard and what she was seeing. And I think it's so far, I'm really enjoying it. So anyway, but yeah, Lynn Brand is also an expert on things like education and flooring. So yes. And Lynn has known us for years. She was Lynn, for those of you that don't know, was our drama teacher in high school and speech teacher and forensics coach. And so she knew the brothers, sisters in their, we'll call them their beta years. Okay.
Exactly. In our sweet, sweet youth.
In our sweet youth when we were super dumb. Okay.
Exactly. But we didn't know it, but we thought we weren't dumb.
No, absolutely not. We thought we were the smartest people ever because, when you're a teenager, you obviously know everything. Duh.
So,
exactly. So anyway, that's going to wrap up our show. So what comes next. That's right. It's going to be our outro music. So let's get to that. Here it goes. Again, from Max Caselli, UMU. I think it's great. So yes, you.
Oh, we just lost Jenny. Jenny, we lost you for a second.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay, phew, thank goodness. Yeah, so like I said, you've been watching the Brothers Sisters Smart Dumb Fun. I am Janice Jenny Brothers, and with me is
Ann Brothers.
Look at her busting out the mic for this one. We look like you're going to start singing something. We need words to this song.
No, we don't.
Brothers Sisters is fun on a weekly Sunday. This is fun. Smart Dumb Fun. All right, anyway, we are out of here, you guys. Peace out.